What's up and welcome back to Talking Nutrition. Today, I want to break down what your first month and a half of 2025 could have looked like. And hey, by the way, maybe you are on a roll. Awesome. If that's the case, I'll allow that for you. But what I wanted to do is break down exactly what we've done with the Odyssey group coaching program cohort currently, where we're in week 6 of 12 currently, to kind of show you like what this could look like for you if you were to also approach your goals in a more structured way, or at least the way we do it, right? Now, I'm not going to say that we have the number one solution for everyone, but I know this definitely works. We've seen it over and over again with, by now, hundreds of people. So that's why I'm sharing it with you, because I don't want to keep this a secret, and it's not supposed to be a secret. Like, I want every single one to know, every single person to know exactly how to approach their goals. Because let's be honest, it's February now. We know based on statistics that most people already give up on their New Year's resolution by this time of the year. Top of my head, I want to say just about 80%-ish. And then by the end of the year, it's just about 95%. And I don't want you to be one of those people. Now, like I said, maybe you're on a roll already, and that would be amazing. And if that's the case, good for you, right? Still listen. I still think there's going to be some good takeaways for you. But, just use this to reflect on where you've currently been and what you've done and what you maybe still struggle with, because there's always going to be things, which is individual. I know, though, based on those statistics, that a lot of people listening, maybe that's you, have not yet successfully seen the results they really wanted to see already. And I hate seeing people stuck, right? And the vast majority of people, actually almost everyone who joins us, at least has been stuck for, let's say, a few years, sometimes decades. And that's why I wanted to share this with you, because I know this stuff works. The only thing that I can't guarantee is that you'll do the work, right? And that you keep showing up and keep trying and keep learning from your failures too, from your hiccups, right? Roadblocks. But I can guarantee you that if you follow this to a T and you actually take your time to step by step go through this process, that you'll set yourself up for success. And you have a much, much bigger chance of being successful on your fat loss journey, your muscle gain journey, whatever that may be. So we're going to take it from week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into week 6, where we're currently at. I will briefly touch on some of the things we have been addressing with our current members. So we have a group of 12 people currently who are all killing it. People are so involved. I was telling them yesterday on a Q&A call, I was like, yo, you guys are like the most proactive, involved group I've had in our group coaching program, which is super cool. Because at the end of the day, group coaching is not the same as one-on-one coaching. There is a little bit less individual follow-up. And that's why, it's a bit harder. You know what I mean? It's a bit harder because all of a sudden you're supposed to ask questions in a group setting. We do the Q&As together, and people still do some individual check-ins, which is an add-on. But it's harder in general not to have that individual touch point with your coach. But I told him yesterday, I was like, yo, you guys are killing it right now. Like, we're being proactive, we're asking questions, and I can already see that people are open for change and they're actually following along, trusting the process. And that's why now, week 6, people are ready to jump in their actual transformation phase. It's not to say that people haven't lost body fat and built muscle yet, because they have. But now we can really officially start to chase that goal. And I want to share this with you so that you can do the same thing. So wherever you're at, maybe you're already seeing progress, or maybe you're just getting started, or maybe you got to start over again, which for a lot of people may be the case. Check this out. This is exactly what we do and what we have been doing these past 6 weeks with our group coaching members in a new program, right? Which, by the way, spoiler alert, we will run a new cohort in April, but you'll hear about that more soon. Heard it here first. But I want you to think, are you actually ready? If your goal is weight loss, right? Are you actually ready? Or should we build some habits and routines first? Where's your metabolism at? Are you always hungry? Does your energy suck? Are there other things we got to look into, right? If you can eat pretty healthy during the week, but every single weekend is a binge fast, okay, cool. That's not a bad thing per se. It's just information that we can use to get you to a better place. And no, by the way, we're not going to take away the flexible meals. I want you to be flexible still, but it's a process that we're going to have to work towards. Make sense? So, okay, week 1. Week 1, we create a starting point. And I always tell people, if you look on a map and you're trying to find your way around town or even a country, right? What do you check first? Let's say you're at a zoo or a theme park, whatever it is. You know those like big, massive maps where it's like, you are here and then you have all the attractions, whatever. That's what I want you to look for, like the you are here arrow. Where are you currently at? Do you have any idea where you're currently at? That goes for your habits. Like I said, that goes for the state of your metabolism. That goes for the routines and the things that we want to change. What about weight, measurements, those kind of things? Like we need to create a starting point. So what we do is we start with a food diary, and I tell people, here's our tracking app. There's no targets yet. You go ahead and figure the app out a little bit, play around with it. And what we need this first week is just seeing what you're currently eating. I want you to think, okay, do we even know what needs changing if we're, for example, not tracking, or if our nutrition is all over the place? Like, no, like, let's track it. That's at least the tool that we use, right? You may choose not to, but it's okay. I'm going to speak to this the way we do this. We log our food for a week, right? So that we know exactly what you eat, at which times, what your meal structure looks like. Do you eat a different amount of meals from day to day? Is it kind of, the same every single day? Food amounts, food choices, flexible foods, whole foods, all that good stuff. Fiber intake, protein. Once we have the data, we can work with that. Now, in the meantime, people weigh themselves every single day. We do measurements and photos. Sounds like a lot, but you got to create a starting point. Because how else are you going to, first of all, figure out what to change nutrition-wise, but also second, like see if you're making progress. Because I can tell you this, like a lot of changes that will happen are not going to be scale related, which is why we do the photos and measurements too. But okay, long story short, we create a starting point, we collect data, right? And we look at what needs changing. Not just that, we address certain routines and habits. Okay, so we struggle with this, let's work on that, right? Let's proactively figure out how as well. I ask people this all the time. It's like, what needs to happen right now to improve? And how will you do that? Make it specific. I want you to think about this process too. And last but not least, we figure out where their maintenance calories, and it's really a range of a few hundred calories. We figure out where that's supposed to be based on the calculations. Again, it's an estimation, but it's pretty accurate usually. Sometimes actually people's metabolism is higher, and I will share an example of that. But we figure that out, and we just work towards that. So for the first month, I've been telling people like, hey, the goal right now is not fat loss. The majority of people came in with a fat loss goal. And I told them yesterday on the same call, I was like, I get that that's hard. I get that when you come in and you want to lose fat, that when I tell you, hey, the first 4 weeks, we're just building habits and routines, that might feel like a little bit of, I just want to get started. But hear me out. First of all, the majority of people have lost body fat already. Just hasn't been the goal. I just told them too, like, hey, that's a bonus. But second, should we be chasing a goal if we still need to work on the very basic things that you need to get done every single day? Because if you're struggling with that, plus you're trying to chase that weight loss goal, right, it's going to be a mess. And that's what we see worldwide with those New Year's resolutions. So that being said, it's a bit of preparation. But when you do the prep work now, your results will be better. You will have an easier time reaching your goals. You'll get better, quicker results. You're going to be able to go back to maintenance sooner, which is a season where there's a bit more flexibility too, because you have more calories, right? It's the pre-work now so that you can get better success long-term. If you invest now, a couple weeks to just dial things in, and you can honestly say, hey, I'm ready. Okay, now we can dive in. And we'll touch on this in a sec. But okay, we calculate maintenance. We figure out, okay, how far from maintenance are you? And I'm just going to bring you there. And guess what? Okay, so if some people come in way under eating, I'm saying, and I put them on a 20% deficit, right? 20% lower in terms of calories from their maintenance. And we do see that they're already losing body fat at about a rate at which would be expected at that number. We can actually kind of stay there. But the goal is still improving routines in the meantime, right? So that brings us into week 2. This is where we set targets. This is where I go in and say, hey, your protein was low, let's bring it up. Your fiber is low, let's work on that, right? Hey, your fats, probably want to bring them down. Carbs go up. I share videos with everyone, exactly teach them how to build meals, how often they should be eating, how to figure that out for their schedule, how to time that for them so that it works. Because at the end of the day, it's very important to base this on your actual schedule so that you can stick with it, right? Which is individual, of course. I tell people like, hey, while you do this, again, keep playing around with the app. We'll get into a specific day of eating and I'll give you more feedback, but like play around with it now. I throw them in the deep. And I want you to know this as well. Like when you start something, you start tracking, you start trying something new, it's gonna come with a learning curve. Like you're gonna have a hard time sometimes getting into a certain process because you simply haven't done it yet. Give yourself that time to figure out. That's why with my clients, I kind of throw them in the deep. I tell them, hey, check these videos, right? Here's exactly how you want to read and see your targets because it's not about the exact gram. This is how you build meals. There's the steps for your meals. Include a protein, carb, fat, and a color. This is how you can structure it. Now go ahead and try. And because they're thrown in the deep a little bit, because they're pushed to try and figure things out on their own, long term, this also promotes being able to figure things out by yourself. Because at the end of the day, like I need to get you ready for that moment too. So you become more resourceful that way. I could tell you exactly what to do. I give people feedback. Of course we do that. But like, if you learn through the process of figuring shit out and also finding what works and doesn't work for you, and then based on my feedback, that's based on your questions, right? We can get you to a much better place. So that's what we do then, right? We bring protein up. We make sure that's in a good spot. For most people, it's too low. And there's a lot of figuring things out still. But the cool thing is we go live every single week where we do Q&A, which is just about 45 minutes in general, 30, 45. I think one time we did an hour to address anything that comes up. And that's the cool part because we have our course, which is 12 weeks. We have their individual nutrition, but then in a group setting, we have Q&A. People can post in the forums. We have our own app for this. And just like that, we can also troubleshoot all the other things that people run into. Then we get it to week 3, where people have the same targets. They're still dialing it in. And they go through what's called the Foundations Crash Course. And I want you to think about this too, right? So in the beginning, you create your starting point. You collect data. Second, you're going to set targets. You're going to figure out maintenance. You're going to figure out protein, etc. And if you need help with this, just DM me on Instagram. I have a couple of calculators and tools for that if you would like to. Happy to help. But then that next week, we're not going to change anything. We're going to still work on those same targets. You're still going to work on tracking. You're still going to work on dialing in your nutrition. And because it's the same focus, this allows you now to go through more of like the education side of things, which for us, week 3 is the Foundations Crash Course. All things nutrition, that goes for calories and macros, also micronutrients a little bit. We talk about exercise, we talk about the daily movement, right? So you're hitting your steps, why that's important. We do an introduction on mindset and a growth mindset specifically. And with that, right, again, they're still working on the same targets. This also shows them like, hey, there's not going to be a change every single week. Like, no, like sometimes it's going to be do the same thing multiple weeks in a row. And that's what I want you to know as well. At the end of the day, once you're dialed, it's a rinse and repeat process. Okay. Like I said, so I've thrown people in the deep. Now I'm going to give them more help. In week 4, we do what's called the Perfect Day of Eating exercise, which I have done a podcast about, I think just about half a year ago, maybe. But long story short, I give them more specific guidelines. Hey, this is how many servings of fruit you want to use. This is how many servings of veggies, right? Here's the exact guidelines that I want you to follow with the 80-20 ratio of 80% whole or minimally processed foods and then 20% anything else. And then based off of that, you're going to put together a full day of eating. Now, you, if you're not my client, will have to do this by yourself. And if you need help, you just hit me up on Instagram. Happy to give you the guidelines. But our clients get feedback from me. And what we did with the group is I actually pulled up during Q&A, I just pulled up a whole bunch of days where people pre-tracked their whole meal plan. And we just addressed and I showed them, hey, this is what I would tweak. Add something here. Let's move this, etc. That way everyone saw each other's as well, which can give each other, inspiration, ideas for meals. But with my feedback as well, they know, okay, what to pay attention to. Okay, so protein was super high in one meal and very low in the other. Let's spread that a little bit more even. Here's a quick example, right? Now with that, not only does the tracking become easier because you just do it beforehand, it's already done. You can then also go to the shop knowing exactly what you need to get. Plus you can follow it as your own self-created meal plan. The goal is to work ahead because I think a lot of people almost fall victim to their busyness and they almost feel like they're not in control, but you are in control because your busyness is not going to go away. You're going to be busy. And in most cases, we're not going to be able to lower workload. So that just means that, hey, if you're busy, stressed, whatever it may be, We just need to figure out tools and tactics and strategies that will allow you to still get consistent. Because here's the thing, like we're still eating meals. So we can change what those meals are. And I can bet that we can still stay for some time, even if that includes tracking food, right? Because I can tell you this, all our clients are super busy, you know? But okay, so we pre-log a full day of eating so that before you even start your day, you already know. And then I tell people, follow it as your meal plan. Repeat those meals if you want to. You can repeat the whole day. You can repeat a few meals. What I personally do is I usually do this on a weekly basis. I just pre-track a full day of eating for Monday. And then as my week progresses, I just copy previous day. Chronometer is a function for that. So copy previous day, and then I'll make tweaks on the fly because I don't eat the exact same stuff every single day. But the general outline is there. It's a very easy way to track. Now, by this time, we have 4 weeks of data. And then in week 5, we do what's called the stoplight review. Just so you know, also, other topics that we discuss in the Odyssey is stress, sleep, routines, right? Morning and evening routines. We get into planning ahead. That goes for your meals at home, etc., meal prepping, grocery shopping. We talk about vacations and social settings and those kind of things to where it's like, hey, okay, what if we can't follow our own meal plan? Like, what if I go to my friends or whatever it is, or we're going away, vacations, holidays, etc. That comes up after, and a whole bunch more. I mean, we're going to talk about your direct environment. We're going to talk about healthy fats, alcohol, caffeine, your periodization plan, understanding that, a lot of mindset work, self-reflection, right? Self-control, willpower, so much good stuff. But the cool thing is, by this point, this would be around, week 5, 6, you should know if you're ready to go or not. How consistent have you been with your whole foods? How consistent have you been with your targets? Are you in control of your nutrition? Are there still other things to work on? Are there still other things to learn? If you're pretty good and you feel confident in saying, hey, you know what? Let's go for that fat loss phase. And I'm like, let's go for it. And I want to go back a little bit because I was going to share an example. One of our clients, she came in low-ish calories, pretty good already, but low-ish. I calculated her maintenance calories and I said, hey, I want you to go there first. Guess what happens? Almost weekly, we brought up the calories and she kept losing weight. Turns out her maintenance, her true maintenance, was much higher than the calculation. So we now figured that we can actually cut body fat, right, at 2,200 calories, which is a great amount to be at. She's very active, I will say that. She trains a lot of steps. But just like that, this goes to show that we have to go there also to even see how your body responds. That's why that first week is so key, in the first few weeks especially. And that's why only now do we decide what do we do with our phases. Because now I'm like, hey, we're actually getting closer to what's supposed to be your maintenance, but you're still losing. Let me calculate. Okay, cool. So you're roughly at like 0.5%, sometimes 1% of weight loss per week. You know what? With that main goal of fat loss, I think we can stay here. Especially since we kept bringing up calories. She's now losing weight around her expected maintenance, just below, but like very close, which is really cool. That's where we want to be, right? Like, ideally, you want to be able to lose fat at as many calories as possible. And here's the thing too, she could have joined some other program where it's like, hey, weight loss goal, cool, calculation, here's your fat loss meal plan, and maybe start at 1,400 calories. Now we're doing it at 2,200 calories and she's losing weight, right? Energy's also better. Hunger and cravings, not very present. Much better place to be in, you see? So I hope this all kind of makes sense. By this time too, whether people have achieved their true maintenance or they're there in that range, or they're slightly below and they're losing body fat as they should, because that tells me too, hey, if we're on these calories and we are losing weight, we don't have to go to maintenance for multiple months. Like, no, like you're losing weight where you're supposed to. So it looks like your metabolism is in a good spot, right? Cool. Then we can keep pushing. By this time, it's very clear. And this is where also we get into your periodization plan, which I just did with everyone last week. Now people know this is going to be my fat loss phase. This is a break because I'm going to go on a trip. Hey, I have a marathon. Hey, I have a race, right? Hey, by the way, like I want to be at maintenance around this time. Cool, let's future pace. Okay, December, you definitely want to be either at maintenance or even in a muscle gain phase. So we're probably going to cut now and then maybe after summer, if they want to, maybe it's just one cut. And just like that, you'll have a better starting point, a better idea of how to reach your goals. And if you're wondering, a fat loss goal should probably be not much longer than 12 weeks for most people, with the exception of obese individuals. We don't do it as much. 16 is the max. And that's really the exception to the rule. Most people listening, 12 weeks tops. Then you do a reverse diet for maybe 4 to 6 weeks. You don't technically have to, but it seems to be a very great way to keep yourself in check, to avoid unnecessary weight gain. And then maintenance would be at least 2 to 3 months after that. Or if you want to go straight into muscle gain, that's great too. You just keep pushing calories. For muscle gain, I would say at least 3 to 4 months. It's a slow process though, right? You see, we're thinking big picture here. We're not trying to rush our fat loss goal in January. We're not trying to do it in 1 month. Like, you've been struggling with this stuff for years now, maybe even decades. And it's time to not try another one of those quick fix diets. People do it over and over again. I don't blame them either. It's the same stuff that I did when I was overweight. I had no idea what I was doing. Right? I had no idea what I was doing. I luckily learned through my coach at the time, my CrossFit coach, how to do it properly, but it was way more basic. It was way more step by step. It was way slower. That's why it lasted. There was no rush. I took my time. I built my habits, my routines. I learned by making a lot of mistakes. And what I'm trying to do with this podcast is give you the exact roadmap that I literally use with every single one of my clients. I'm not hiding anything. This process, every single one of my clients walks through this roadmap. And of course, the course part is 12 weeks, right? But it goes for a group coaching program. That also goes for individual coaching clients. So they go through the same course, right? They just have more individual follow-up, more contact and access to me as well. But I'm sharing this because I want you to know there is a different way. There's a better way to do this. And that if you're stuck, this might just be a very good thing to try. Again, I'm not a magician, but I've gotten a lot of people unstuck by this exact approach. That's what I want you to try this out too. So I hope that helps. And I also want you to think, okay, so what's clear to me and what's maybe still confusing, or I have follow-up questions? Hit me up on Instagram. I'll make sure to drop the link in the show notes, because I know this is still very general and what you might need might be completely different. And that being said, I do have a little gift for you as well. I'm not here to sell you anything. What I want to do today is share with you the quiz that we recently put up, where we can basically address what we just talked about today for you specifically and give you an action plan to follow. I'm still going to recommend you follow the order of things I just shared with you. But if you fill in the quiz, I'll link that in the show notes. If you fill that out, I will send you a personal video, usually just about 5 to 10 minutes, where I literally walk you through your answers and give you coaching advice. This is not something I'll be doing forever, because we've been getting a lot of quizzes and it's a lot of videos that I'm going to send out. But every single one of you who sends me that quiz will get a personal video with my feedback. And it's my way of giving back, right? It's my way of helping you, of trying to get you unstuck, because I know you're out there trying to figure this out by yourself, right? So that being said, I hope this helps. I'll drop the quiz in the show notes. It's a couple questions, nothing too crazy. It takes a few minutes to fill out. And it's very similar to what we talked about in the beginning. It's creating that starting point, the awareness, the where are you currently at? And then from there, we can start to build. Then I can share with you what you want to focus on the next 30, 60, 90 days. And then, as I kind of teased before, in April, we will run another group coaching program. You cannot join yet, or you cannot even join the waitlist yet. Well, we'll start, pushing that a little bit more in March, but you're the first to know about it. Just stay in touch. And like I said, in the meantime, the quiz is there. It's absolutely free. There's no strings attached. This is literally just me giving you free coaching advice and thanking you for being a listener, because we've been doing this podcast for a long time and it's been a really cool journey. And that's just my way of saying thank you. I will talk to you very soon. Next episode is going to be another guest episode. Can't wait to share that one with you. And then I'll see you the week after again.